credited for designing 87 games on Board Game Geek, and a lot of them he has done completely on his own. Hey everybody, what is up? My name is Mackenzie.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are husband and wife, and we'd like to welcome you to TerreDice.
And today we're taking a look at a designer that is Steve Finn. We're going to do a little designer spotlight, talk about a couple interesting things about this designer, sort of like patterns that we've noticed, things we like, things that just like they do that we don't see a lot of other designers do.
Yeah, so Steve Finn, or Dr. Finn's Games, he is credited for designing 87 games on Board Game Geek as being a part of that design process, and a lot of them he has done completely on his own. So,
self-published, and also through Pencil First. He does a lot of games.
So very impressive designer with a really long resume, and truly a man in its own. Like, there's everything. So we're really excited to share him with you. So if that sounds like something you want to see, then just keep watching. All right, so Steve Finn, also known as Dr. Finn, that's the name of his publishing design company, because he actually works at West Point, which is professor there, which is really cool. So we thought it would be fun to highlight him because he, along with being a great designer, he was actually the first designer publisher to reach out to us to ask us to review one of their games. So it was very special to us because they're like, oh wow, and like the first person to like reach out. So very close to our heart designer, but we like him because he is a self-made publisher. Like he, from beginning to end, he is involved in the process. Like he hires the artist, he hires the graphic designer, he designs the game, he does it to fulfillment and gets it to everybody that backs his Kickstarter. And we know from publishing Bark Avenue, like it is a tough, and it is hard to go out and find your graphic designer and your artist. You're like, how am I doing this? But he does it all. And he actually gave us lots of advice when we were fulfilling, while we were going through the Kickstarter for Bark Avenue, to learn about fulfillment and stuff like that. So really generous guy, family guy, that also just designs really great games. So let's dive into what are the games, or what kind of games does he design? Yeah,
so he generally designs a lot of like small box games. So I mean, you kind of see here like a lot of these like really cute little games that what I like is his rule books are really clear. So you open it up, you're probably gonna, so we're gamers and we play lots of games. I can learn a Steve Finn game in 10-15 minutes and be like, cool, got it. You might have to reference the rule book, right? But you can get started playing, and 30 to 45 minutes later, you finish your first game. So they're all like really kind of like 45-minute-ish games. He also, another interesting thing that he does, he releases them in batches. So he has these like Kickstarter campaigns where there'll be 3 or 4 games all going live like at the same time. Now that means like there'll be some like really standout ones, there'll be other ones that get more mixed reviews, so you really have to kind of look at the whole package and just kind of like find the ones that are going to be good fits for you. I think another fun quirk about his games are that there's almost at least in the version we got, I hope that it's the same with like all the standard versions, but there's always like a little mini expansion in it. So there's like an extra set of cards and like a couple extra tokens, and I feel like he's just kind of like, what if you could take it up a level? What if you could add some replayability and do some more fun stuff with it? And I feel like that's the kind of uninhibited like design joy and passion that you get when you self-publish, is you get to just put extra stuff in the box. And you really feel that with a lot of his games. So we haven't played all 87 by any means, but we have played a couple that we really enjoyed. This in particular, Nanga Parbat, is a 2-player game. I would say most of his games work really well at 2-player. Like that's a golden player count for a lot of his games. But essentially, like, you are Sherpa people going up a mountain on base camps on Nanga Parbat, and you're collecting animals that you're going to use, and then you're building base camps, and you're going to score points for like a bunch of different things. So what I like about this game is that it has a very snappy turn structure, and it's one of those games that your strategy is as much about picking what you want as it is about boxing the other player into what you want them to get or don't want them to get. So basically you're going to have a guide who's moving around the mountain, and you're going to pick one of the animals that's in that location, and you're going to put one of your people there. Now, whichever number you lined up with is where on the pyramid the guide is going to go next, and that's going to be the new selection that the next player has. And it's a game where basically you're going to cash in those people at some point to build campsites. You're also going to cash in those animals, trading to either trade all identical or all different animals to score various points based on how many you cashed in at that one time. And what I think is really cool about it is that each number can only be scored once. So there is kind of a race to see like, oh, they're going to build a campsite of 6. I'm not even going to bother. I'm just going to build one of 5. which I thought was kind of cool about this game.
So one thing I appreciate in Nanga Parbat is that there is a wide range of meeples and unique meeples that I've never seen before. And I seem to notice this in a lot of Steve Finn games, is that there's fun uses of meeples. He doesn't just do the standard like standard meeple, as you'd say, like the person. Like this one has like
cute.
red pandas and yaks and just like very diverse animals. And he tends to do that a lot.
They're very fun.
Yeah, and I really enjoy this 2-player game.
I like the color scheme too.
Yes, it's very nice. Now we played Mining Colony, and I know you're a big fan of that one.
Yes, I really like Mining Colony. It's so good. It's a little game where you're going to bid for these tiles and basically little resources. You've got like power gems, and then you got like rocket ships and astronauts, and you're trying to build out a Mars colony, essentially. And what I really like about it is that bidding system. Essentially, you're going to end up with some leftover cards, and you're going to score bonus points for having higher leftover cards. So you actually do have incentive to bid low because you want those cards left over so you score points at the end of the game. So that was cool. Now, what's cool about this game is essentially if you can get like an astronaut and a rocket of matching color with an empty space in between, you can build an outpost. There's a limited number of outposts, limited number of science posts. So you can score essentially like for getting those nice wombo combos in addition to how you place things. Then you got the patchwork polyomino, like you lose points for empty spaces, which I think is super fun. I will say probably the one thing that I wish this game had more of is sort of like that variable scoring of I have 3 outposts so that I score more because I have the most outposts. So we've thought about like house ruling, like that 6-3-1 that you get for the bids, you also get for the outposts and the science posts.
I would say that's kind of a critique I have about his games and like all of his games in general, not all of them, but that I wish there was more way to score points. It seems to be like a limited amount where only certain things score, but I think we talked about how so like you wish there was like more things to score. But Mining Colony is a great game, and Dice Tower, I know that Tom Vassell said this is one of his favorites by Dr.
Oh
Finn.
yeah, he did say that. That's right. So that's a couple of Steve Finn's games. We also included up here Biblios, Quill, and Parchment. We talked about that in our Roll and Write video because it's awesome. That is my favorite version of Biblios. So definitely
you also mentioned
check
it's one of your favorite Roll and Writes.
Oh, definitely.
It's good. It's lots of different scoring mechanisms in that one actually. So that's actually a good example of that.
Very, very interesting. Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's Dr. Finn kind of in a nutshell. So he's self-publishing. He's doing a lot with Pencil First, like Herbaceous and Floriferous, and he's got some games out there. Sunset Over Water. I'm thinking of all the like Beth Sobel art. And
what I appreciate about Dr. Finn is that there is so many different types of games. I noticed, like there's so many different theming, I guess. There's like a School of Sorcery, so you got wizards, you got on Mars, you got Nanga Parbat, and there's always like in the like little flower shop, there's like a wide variety of the theming there. So he doesn't just stick into like I'm just gonna design space games or I'm just gonna design farming games. Like he does like a wide range of it to meet different audiences. So they're out of all of 87. I'm sure there's lots that you would enjoy as well.
Yeah, I would just love to be like in his head and just hear how he comes up with these ideas.
Yes, I'm sure I would probably guess that he's like, oh, I want to design a game like that. And that's why like he puts out so many at once because like he's just like so many designs running around in his head.
Some really, really good designs.
Yeah, and he's just a very generous designer in the community. Like we said in the beginning, he's helped us. We reviewed a game called West Point, and I know he was an advisor for those kids over there. So he's just very generous with his time, very generous with wanting to help people in game design and just help people learn. So I think he's a professor at heart, so we really appreciate that about him. All right, so that was our designer spotlight of Dr. Finn from Dr. Finn's Games. Let us know down in the comments what other designer you would like to see us highlight, because I really enjoyed doing this. I think it'd be fun to dive into different designers, to bring some of them into light, because even though designers are like the reason that these games are here, I don't feel like they get a lot of like credit per se. Like not in like the big world of gaming, like people don't tend to know the designers or the artists like they know the publishers. So I'd really like to bring those into focus because they're the reason they're here. All right, but if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can know whenever we put out a new video. And we'll see you next time. Happy playing!